Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The event will start at 1:15, so we invite you to take your seats. For those who are still in the registration queue, please come to the main event area. We will see you without the registration. Thank you. Good afternoon. The program will start in a few minutes, so we invite you to please take your seats. Thank you.
خلاص. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، السيدات والسادة، الحضور الكريم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسرني أن أرحب بكم في النسخة الأولى من ملتقى كاتم تراست، حيث يجتمع نخبة من القادة والخبراء في مجال أمن الاتصالات ليسلطوا الضوء على أبرز المواضيع وآخر ما توصلت لها التكنولوجيا في هذا المجال. كما سنشهد اليوم ومن خلال هذا الملتقى الإعلان عن منتج جديد تطلقه شركة كاتم الإماراتية الرائدة في مجال أمن الاتصالات على صعيدين المحلي والعالمي. فمرحبا بكم. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, welcome to the very first edition of KATIM Trust. I am Ahmed Al-Hosani, Business Development Manager at the Department of International Sales at Edge Group, and I am honored to be presenting to you today. In our ever-connected world, where information is a valuable currency and communication is the lifeblood of progress, the topic of secure communications has never been more critical. Today, we've gathered a distinguished group of thought leaders and experts who have dedicated their careers to understanding, improving, and innovating in this field. They will share their invaluable insights and visions for the future. Our agenda for today is both comprehensive and captivating. We'll begin by hearing from keynotes delivered by pioneers and visionaries in the world of advanced technology and secure communications. These individuals have not only shaped the landscape, but are also actively building bridges to a more secure and interconnected world. Followed by an engaging panel discussion that will delve into the challenges, opportunities, and ethical considerations that come with secure communications in our rapidly evolving digital environment. Furthermore, we will witness an exciting product launch that is bound to have a significant impact on the field. And finally, a series of keynotes by key members from KATIM. And now, please welcome to the stage Kate Marchuk, whom I will be sharing the stage with today to introduce our first keynote speaker.
Thank you, Ahmed, for the introduction. Welcome, everybody, to our first KATIM Trust event. We're very confident that today's agenda will bring you insights and information that will help you navigate information security in your daily life in your organizations. That applies to both inside the UAE and across the world. And to help set the scene for today's conversation, to give you an idea of what to expect from keynote speakers and our panel, I'm very proud to introduce our Chief Executive Officer, Didier Pagnou. Please welcome him on stage.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Edge and KATIM leaders, good afternoon and welcome. I would like to open the forum with an expression of gratitude. I'm truly grateful for the presence of so many of you here today. We stand as a testament to the leadership of Abu Dhabi and the UAE across government and various business organizations. In particular, I would like to thank our group chairman, His Excellency Faisal Al-Banai. It's an honor for me to welcome you here all to KATIM Trust 2023, the first ever secure communication industry event in Abu Dhabi. This is the inaugural edition of what will become an industry event in the future. Why KATIM Trust? Why did we choose this name? In today's digital age, trust isn't a luxury. It is the foundation. In today's interconnected world, trust isn't just a word, it's our nation's backbone. Our world is increasingly facing hybrid conflicts and information wars. Sovereignty is not just about physical borders, but the invisible lines of our communications. We must ensure our nation stands sovereign in this boundless digital frontier and are fully prepared for the post-quantum future. Assuming that it's our mission, today's gathering transcends the ordinary. Join us as we shape a future where trust defines progress and build a secure and trusted tomorrow. Our agenda features keynote addresses and panel discussions from the UAE most respected minds in secure communications. We are committed to protecting the country's critical infrastructure and sensitive data. You will have the opportunity to engage in thought-provoking discussions with peers and experts in the latest developments and innovations in secure communication. You will also be able to discover unique solutions tailored to the UAE market and foster valuable business relationships. Let me be clear. Today is not about discussing about hypothetical or abstract scenarios. We will address real threats and explore real solutions to keep communication secure, both now and in the future. For those who are not familiar with the company, I will give some words about KATIM. Exactly 1 year ago, Edge Group announced the new jewel of its crown, KATIM. Based in the UAE, the company operates both in the UAE and Finland. We provide government and business with data and critical communications for systems and operation. We achieve this by delivering robust, secure, end-to-end solutions across 4 critical areas of communication: networks, mobile devices, applications, and satellite. All of our products are enabled for a post-quantum realm and ready for AI-enabled world. KATIM is the only company in the UAE integrating the national, classic, and post-quantum cryptography in our product. Over this year, we made tremendous progresses. For example, we launched a KATIM Gateway 911, the flagship of our network encryptors fleet. We introduced KATIM 2.0 this year at this very moment, a platform that uses the latest technology stack. And in a very short future, we are going to launch our 4th generation of secure smartphone. This smartphone will integrate AI functions and attachable expansions. And yet, this is only the beginning. I close now restating our pleasure that so many of you are joining us here today to discuss and debate this critical, important topic. I welcome you in KATIM 2023. Thank you for your attendance.
With that informative introduction, we now turn to a series of presentations from our distinguished speakers. Our first speaker is a recognized expert in telecommunications, cybersecurity, electronic warfare, and network technologies. With extensive experience in these fields, his leadership and innovation have left an impactful mark on the industry. He is also the driving force behind KATIM and other cyber-related entities within EDGE. He currently serves as Senior Vice President of the Electronic Warfare and Cyber Technologies Cluster at EDGE Group. Please join me in welcoming Walid Al-Mismari.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أصحاب المعالي، أصحاب السعادة، الحضور الكرام. Welcome, good afternoon, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, and colleagues. In an era marked by unparalleled technology advancement, cybersecurity and secure communication is a critical cornerstone in building a digital cybersecurity world. As organizations continue to build their layers and networks and technologies, new vulnerabilities will be discovered, that will be discovered by sector threats and actor threats. Cybersecurity threats likely to cost almost government, enterprises, and individuals more than $350 billion by 2031. New attacks are predicted to be happening every 2 seconds throughout the world. In May 2023, the Cybersecurity Council in the UAE have deterred or said that they have deterred 50,000 attacks daily, which means that we are increasingly having threats around the world. We need to ask ourselves two main questions. Are we really ready for the rapid advancement of technology and the digitization that's expected in the future? This is one. And the second, are we really ready for protecting our crown jewels for things that will happen in the future? So if we talk about the emergence of new technologies and that present both challenges and opportunities in the field today, there is an immense opportunities and immense opportunities for us to be able to propel ourselves to the future. Quantum computing specifically, with its immense processing power, it has the potential to contribute to strengthening the advanced encryption algorithms and the secure communication protocols. With that said, the significance of the quantum key distribution, cannot be overstated throughout the advancement of technology, as it forms a bedrock for secure communication and data processing throughout the world. Cryptography is at the heart of our global internet community, and that's a fact that cannot be overstated. From banking to safeguarding IP, to even communication, to as well to for more functional needs for having a secure and private communication that's being used over the world. The connection between the evolving cyber threats and the advancement of quantum computing underscore an urgency for us to solve this issue, to solve this global security challenge. There is key implications for the quantum computing across national security. And the UAE efforts led by the Cybersecurity Council in the UAE and even enterprises along have propelled us and propelled the country forward for building a safe cyberspace. And KATIM today have provided a lot of solutions that can enable cyberspace being safe from the digital or the threat actors. Today, the UAE is a global leader in innovation and security and safety. With the challenges that we have from cryptography vulnerabilities or secure communications, national secrets, and supply chain safety, there is total specific need for a government response to ensure that we are prioritizing our research, we are prioritizing the innovation and collaboration to develop quantum-resistant technologies. Secure communication is one of them, and KATIM is leading these efforts in the UAE with the blessing of the leadership and the different government agencies. Dear partners, national security in the quantum era require proactive and multifaceted approach that we need to protect sensitive information and critical systems. And that's cannot be happening without understanding the regional threat theater also. Governments, organizations, and even institutions in the Middle East would always revolve and should always proactively address these challenges. We need to have a national and even international cooperation that can help us to ensure that the security and the resilience of the region, critical systems and data are safe from threat actors and safe from security threats that we will have across the globe. With that said, thank you for your time, and we would love for you, to enjoy your rest of the sessions in this forum. Thank you.
Our next speaker combines more than 20 years of experience in project management and information technology. He is a member of the UAE Leaders Digital Hub and part of the British University Future Programme Council. He has participated in more than 100 events, workshops, and conferences around the world, shedding light and sharing his knowledge in network and cybersecurity. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Hamad Khalifa Al-Naimi, the head of Telecommunication and Infrastructure Department at the ICT Center for Abu Dhabi Police.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank Edge Group for having me as a speaker with partnership with Etisalat, as well as congratulations for the first event that you're having in showing your product and showing what we are capable as a UAE government showing in the technology field and environment. As well, this is something not going to be nervous for me, but I guess my big boss is here, so I have to do my best to show him that I'm doing better for the next year evaluation. So first of all, I'm completing what Mr. Walid Mismari is talking about, secure communication. He's more dedicated into the rest of the products that KATIM company are providing and the Edge Group in general. My agenda today is going to be about secure communication, the importance of the secure communication and digitization era, then moving in the national security, how we are going to implement this. Also the challenge in the digitization world and what is the deployment strategy. will end with the partnership and the needs of collaboration between the private and the public sector and the future of communication. I guess this is a well-known example on what is the critical infrastructures and the secure communication are like. Federal Aviation Authority in the United States has been attacked in January. Most of the report says this is an IT error, but if we look deeply into it, it's a cyber attack. 8,200 flights has been canceled, stopped within a few hours. We can imagine the impact of this crash or this accident into the economy, the trading, and the rest of the fields that belongs to this transportation environment. We are talking about the national security. We are talking about the critical infrastructure that we do have. So just completing what Mr. Walid is talking about, the national security and the secure communication. Just a reminder on the network telecommunication layers, we are starting to see the lovely and the nice phase on the product, on the application phase. When we look into all these services and the applications, wow, it looks wonderful. I can do my best to finish my service. But nobody knows about what's going on the back scene or on the back side. And sorry, also, I would like to thank the KATIM team, the one who's working behind the scene to prepare this event and bringing me here to just share my knowledge and experience, and hopefully you are going to get something out of it. So just a reminder on the layers that we do have in the telecommunication and the network. The importance of secure communication in the digitization era. Since 2003, the federal and the local government had started this journey moving into digitization. None of our organization or even authorities not having a single service that's going to be online. I guess Dubai now is one of the best examples, as well as TAM Factory we have in Abu Dhabi. More than 100 services are online. But all these services has been bringing vulnerabilities, risk that we have to deal with. And as what Mr. Walid was saying, and I will just make it sure and confirm that His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Al-Kuwaiti a few weeks ago announced that we as the United Arab Emirates have been attacked 71 million times till that time. That was an announcement, I guess, during GITEX. Increased connectivities. All these services has to be connected with some point or some other figures. So talking about health authority, talking to education authority. Or let's give an example, in Abu Dhabi Police as a license services requirement, we have to get connected to at least an immigration. All these connections has to be secure. And this is when we are talking about why it's got to be very important to make it secure. The cost of inaction. It's always never too late to take action. Yes, the threats are going to be increased. The attacks and the risk of all these services going to be bigger and bigger. But as what Mr. Walid said, are we ready to take an initiative? I guess my colleague Abdullah Sayari here is going to talk about all these risks as he's the CISO, an expert in his field. Why secure communication is vital to the national security. National security is the base of any country. If there is no national security, there won't be any featuring or services running and up. So encryption technology, yes, I would support KATIM Group to go for this initiative. And more than encryption, there has to be more workshops, there has to be some gathering, some broadcasting of all these technologies that they are providing, balancing between the privacy and the security. We are living in a digital era. None of us, even our kids, are using all these digital services and digital products. The consequences of insecure communication. Is it vital? Yes, we have seen this. FAA, Federal Aviation Authority, or in the United States, they are talking about the national security. It's very costly when we are not going to look after our secure communication. The challenge. There's always got to be a challenge. Since we are starting this journey, as what His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid says, all these challenges that we are facing in our digitization era is not going to prevent us from reaching where we are or where we are heading. There got to be an opportunities to take these challenges to make it opportunities for a better and developing life for our society and our nation. End-to-end encryption is one of the challenges that facing the secure communication. Rapidly evolving technologies with all these AI and cognitive AI, are we going to just stand there and wait for the rest of the world to not having a secure communication for our national security? International cooperation. And I just read recently that Edge Group has been signed an agreement with ICEYE, a Finnish company, on the satellite communication. So I guess there is always a collaboration, not even from the local and the country level, it's also an international level. Also, I guess KATIM has been signed an agreement with Etisalat, and thank you, Etisalat people, for providing me an access to be here to share again my knowledge with you today. Secure communication deployment strategy, simple and easy. Keep developing the protocols, enhancing encryptions and public-private partnership. This is when we're talking about everybody needs to know everything about his technology. We refer to the COVID-19 pandemic when His Highness Sheikh Mohammed says everybody's responsible. We are talking about the health issue that belongs to almost everybody. But from an ICT people, from information technology perspective, I guess we are all responsible in taking this into the next level. The need for public-private partnership. One more agreement, I guess, belonging to the example that I have been showing on the first slide. The Civil Aviation Authority in the United Arab Emirates has signed an agreement and a long strategy with the Cybersecurity Council. I guess it's time for everybody to look into the cyber threats and cyber securities. It's not going to stop at one point. We are a digital nation. We are moving so fast, and the technology are not waiting. Sharing the knowledge and expertise. Yes, this is one of the best examples. To have an event, to have workshops, to have conferences that everybody's gathered to share from a different entities, from a different authorities. Improve data sharing. Data is the new oil. Whomever owns the data is the rich. We are not talking about money anymore. It's all about data, and this is a fact in the information communication technology world. Last but not least, the future of secure communication. This is the end of my slides. It's all about securing communication. Everybody is doing his own job. Innovation and competition, the converging line, and the bigger picture when we are talking about the reputation and the evaluation of the services of each entities and each government, either on the federal level or a local level, even on the private sector. Ending my presentation today, I guess for those who speak Arabic can read what His Highness Sheikh Mohammed said mean by this, but in English, I would say the country of United Arab Emirates day by day approve that the ambition is never going to be a challenge for us for reaching our goals and make it happen. This is what's the foundation of this country and the founder of this country. Thank you so much for listening and being here, and hopefully you will enjoy the rest of your day. If there will be any questions, I am ready to answer. Thank you again, وشكرا جزيلا.
After looking into the UAE context, we now will dive deeper into the role of one key solution, sovereign encryption. Our final speaker for this part of the event leads the research and development of cryptographic and quantum communication technologies, as well as the advancement of autonomous robotics and self-navigating vehicles. She received a special recognition award at the Arab Women Awards in 2021, held in partnership with the United Nations to recognize the notable achievements of the region's women. Please welcome Dr. Najwa Araj, Chief Researcher at the Cryptography Research Center at the Technology Innovation Institute.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. So I think I will get the hard task to explain what cryptography is. So Walid mentioned it. Our second speaker mentioned it as well. So I will try to explain what cryptography means. It's obviously very abstract, it's number-oriented. However, one thing that I can say for sure, it is the cornerstone of digital security and of cybersecurity. And one thing I can say for sure is that we have been working on the development of sovereign cryptographic technologies for 6 to 7 years now, and there were many more efforts before. And we're lucky that we have a big support to the technology, even though it's not tangible, I would say, even though it's something that many nations and many countries and many companies usually put in the back burner. We have the privilege and we have the luck in the UAE that there has been a very big focus on this since the beginning. In fact, today what I could say in all confidence is that we are one of the leading countries in this field as well. So let me start. So cryptography today, for those who ask, okay, I cannot see it, where is it? It's critical for every internet user. Today, everybody that logs into the browser, he can see HTTPS, he can see a lot of protocols that we can use. For those that are a bit more computer savvy, you see SSH, you see secure file transfer, etc. All of this is based on cryptography, both the public key cryptography and private key cryptography. Every active website has crypto embedded in it. Every enterprise, IT infrastructure, every solution, etc., has cryptography embedded in it. So basically, every penny or every dollar or every dirham that is spent online has cryptography that has implications on it. So to go into a little bit of detail, cryptography today is used for two things. One, it is used for solutions, solutions that protect data at rest. So this is the data that is on my machine, this is the data that is on my phone, this is the data that is on my server, and I use it for protecting this data. One, it provides you with the confidentiality. So basically, only the users that have the right to access this information can read it. It provides you with integrity, and this is for those who are familiar where we talk about hashing function, about message digest, is that it provides you the mechanism to make sure that whatever data has been stored on a laptop, on a server, on the mobile, is not changed by an adversary attacker. It provides you with non-repudiation. All of you are familiar with manual signatures. There is the digital equivalent of those signatures. It's called the digital signatures. It provides you a way that if I send you signed data, that user or me who signed it, I cannot go back and say, no, it's not me who sent it. And this is what I mean by non-repudiation. Of course, it provides you with proactive protection. Now, data in transit, and we heard a lot about secure communication. We hear a lot about VPN boxes and security and to server security, etc. This is what data in transit means. That how can I use security, how can I use cryptography in order to move data from point A to point B while providing confidentiality, integrity, non-repudiation. And this is the same concept here, is that crypto is used for data in transit to provide you with data confidentiality, with data integrity, non-repudiation, and then typically cryptographic algorithms themselves, not the implementation, has to be technology independent. On life cycle management, and this is a question I get asked a lot, is that, okay, you guys have spent 1 or 2 years and you developed the sovereign crypto algorithms, why do you need to keep maintaining it? It is something that has to be maintained. It is something that has to be analyzed on a very cyclic basis. Starting from cryptographic strength, without going into a lot of technical details here, we hear about AES 256, we hear about AES 128, 192, RSA 2048, etc. Today, in classic cryptography, and I will get later on to speak about the quantum, the highest bit level of security is 256-bit levels of security. In our design of the libraries and the algorithms overall and the protocols, we aspire to provide the 256-bit level of security from a theoretical point of view. There is the cryptanalysis resistance. Whenever there is a design of a crypto algorithm, there are 2 types of cryptanalysis that need to be done. One is, we call it the theoretical cryptanalysis, where we put all the mathematicians there to be able to try to break that crypto algorithm and make sure all the cryptanalytic attacks, which we know which one is applicable to which algorithm, do not apply to it and cannot break it. And then there is the other aspect of implementation, which I will mention it on. And then we have, of course, the target technology. Here, it's not the concept of the algorithm that changes, but you can imagine that if you are deploying your cryptography on a full power server, it's very different than deploying it on IoT devices, which cannot have a heavy load of protocols, and then you need to go a bit layer in the bit length security in that case. Of course, the implementation, in fact, one thing is that the design is fine. In many cases, you see there are many public libraries, there are many libraries or even standards that have been published by NIST, by the NSA and others that already have the design, and it's design that has been under scrutiny by the entire crypto and cybersecurity community for a while. It is the implementation that matters here more, because the implementation is like any software or any hardware implementation can be subject to vulnerabilities. And this is where all the CVEs apply, all the OWASP apply, etc. So as much as the design of the algorithm is important, as much as its implementation is important as well. Cryptanalysis here, which is the applied cryptanalysis, matters a lot. And if you have heard of the concept of side channel analysis and fault injection attacks, this is what falls under this category. And of course, the implementation has to be modular. And I will come to this concept later on about modularity and cryptographic agility. Today, if you go into a lot of entities, you will find a lot of deprecated algorithms that are there. And to make things worse is that the crypto is so embedded in those products and in those elements, it is very hard to replace it. And this is why in the modern crypto systems, we have to ensure that we have modularity and we have the concept of cryptographic agility. Software hardware co-design, in some cases, and in fact, in most of the KATIM products that we collaborate on today, you have a lot of software hardware co-design. So you have a big part that will happen in software, and then you have coprocessors or FPGAs or ASICs, where some of the, either an entire crypto algorithm or primitive, or part of it is implemented in this hardware. And then finally, in order to make integration simple, we package them as part of APIs or SDKs. Now, I have mentioned all of this jargon. Why is crypto sovereignty very important? A lot of you know of incidents that happened before on VPN boxes, crypto AG, or the likes, where you had issues and vulnerabilities in random number generators and to algorithms that said that they have specific bit length, and in fact they did not meet it, that they had implementation issues with the algorithms themselves. So why is sovereignty important? Why is it important for the UAE to own its own national crypto libraries, to own the source code, and to actually have a team of cryptanalysts that test it on a quarterly basis, on a bi-yearly basis, etc.? One, very simply, it allows you to take control of the cryptographic design strength. I design my algorithm, I own my algorithm, I own my code, I have full control over what I'm putting in terms of crypto on my systems. It allows you to take control over crypto implementations. You are your own root of trust. Today, just to give you an example, if you compare what KATIM has and if you take whatever security you put on KATIM and you put it on Samsung design, and I have no issue on Samsung, I have a Samsung myself, the root of trust of Samsung and the key that you can put on Samsung, Samsung owns it. So at the end, regardless of whatever stack you put in terms of hardware operating system, of your own crypto algorithm, as long as the OEM themselves, they own this root of trust, your security is not fully under your control. And this is why this is very important. Total control over your crypto key generation, management, and revocability, this is equally important. And then policy enforcement upon cryptographic use. If you look into the state of the art and what the different nations and international countries have put, as I mentioned, the UAE is one of the most advanced countries when it comes to cryptographic libraries, implementations, products, and laws and regulations. There's a law today that is coming up in order to adopt national crypto libraries in highly critical entities, to deploy, actually to remove any deprecated libraries and algorithms and deploy the highest level bit strength of security, and also to move into what we heard before about quantum-resistant algorithms, and I will come to that in a bit. Sovereign crypto libraries will be with 256-bit level of security. Standards will have to do with sovereign implementations aligned to NIST when it comes to post-quantum. And then, of course, between the various entities that are in charge in the country, we have cryptographic labs focused on end-to-end cryptographic implementations, theoretical and applied cryptanalysis, including side channel and fault injection. And without going into the other details, very few countries have done the same, maybe before, maybe after. One of them is the United States. Today, as you know, the United States, they have the NIST Suite B library, which is made public. This is what OpenSSL implements. This is what TLS implements. This is what Google libraries implement, etc. However, the US themselves, in the critical entities, they put the Suite A, which if you ask me what it is, I will tell you I don't know. And in fact, nobody knows because this is their sovereign crypto library. The same way tomorrow, if somebody asks us, what is your sovereign crypto library about, their answer should be, I don't know as well. Of course, most of the crypto standards today, they come from NIST. Countries adapt to it. Some of them align to it based on the internal country needs. Germany, there is a very big directive that came from the ESI, also to start working on certain cryptographic products. We've seen many of them, and they enforce them at the sector level. And in fact, the international players that come there, that have their bosses, they have let's say, their crypto appliances, etc., they are forced, or actually they have to comply with the directive that the ESI provides. France, they have a secret suite that comes from India, and we see it in most of the vendors that we deal with, whether in SDRs, whether in crypto boxes, HMs, etc. China, they also have some recent crypto laws that came up in 2020, the same with the UK. On the post-quantum specifically, and based on what Walid mentioned before, is that with the advent of quantum computers, 70% of the crypto that we know it today, which is based on the public key infrastructure that uses RSA and the elliptic curve cryptography, these are broken. In fact, once we have the quantum computer with the 10,000 logical qubits, we're very far ahead from there. We're very far from there. Once this exists, most of the crypto that is deployed today will be broken. Now, you tell me, okay, we're very far, why are you worrying about this today? The reason is, most of our critical data, most of the government data, it gets stored for 25 to 30 years. So if I'm storing my data today using the crypto that will be broken, I'm already too late. The quantum computer might come in 10, 15 years. I will be able to use it to break the data that is encrypted with today's crypto algorithms. This is why the law also mandates for post-quantum migration. And you see, thanks to the work that has been done, or that has been, thanks to the vision that has been put behind this, today we have post-quantum crypto libraries. In fact, if I may, these are some of the libraries that have been deployed in the crypto appliances of KATIM, and also in some of the mobile secure communication solutions that KATIM is providing. You see that most of the efforts in post-quantum are happening starting from 22 to 23, so we're racing along the game of post-quantum. Without going into detail, I think this has been mentioned over and over again, is that crypto technologies are important for most government applications, whether we're talking about data at rest encryption, sensitive data exchange. I cannot emphasize the importance of crypto and SDRs and RF links and signals processing more, cloud storage and privacy, identity access management, data processing, mobile application, G2G, and what have you. All of this is highly relevant for governmental use cases. And all of this and sovereign crypto is in particular very highly relevant for the governmental use cases. So if I were to give a summary of all the crypto capabilities that exist in the country today, that are sovereign, that are packaged in a way they can be deployed in the critical entities, today we cover most of the ecosystem and most of the crypto solutions that are known globally. Starting from the first one, and this is where the work has started 3 years ago, is that, I'm actually scared to press on this one. Is this the pointer? Yes. Check? No, it's not. Okay. So starting from the custom and the custom crypto protocols. So this is where it's the category of sovereign cryptographic libraries and protocols, software, hardware, cores and accelerators, advanced theoretical cryptanalysis, and advanced applied cryptanalysis. So this, I would put it as the basic sovereign crypto components that need to exist within any nation or any government. Moving forward is the post-quantum crypto. And as I mentioned, most of the public key infrastructure based on RSA and ACC will be broken by an algorithm called the Shor quantum algorithm. What the crypto community has been doing for years now, since 2016, is finding mathematical alternatives based on which they develop public key protocols that will not be broken by those quantum computers. And if you talk about complexity theory, it's basically elevating the complexity theory from what we call a BPP so that those quantum algorithms, and in particular Shor, does not break them. Today, there are 4 classes of such algorithms. All of them have been packaged and implemented in a sovereign way. So this is what you see, what I mentioned here, quantum-resistant crypto schemes, key encapsulation, and this is the equivalent of the classic of key exchange, public key encryption, and digital signatures. We're working on a post-quantum enterprise suite. Obviously, not every entity will take library and then put a team of developers and engineers to integrate it. You want to provide a suite as a VPN, as a secure email, as a secure VoIP, etc., IAM, that is post-quantum, quantum random number generation, and as we heard before, quantum key distribution. Moving forward is the identity and access management, which is a very important cryptographic product, which has to do with private identity management and single sign-on. Within the same category, even though, I mean, this is like more an attempt to club them, is the sovereign blockchain implementation and sovereign key management. Another very important area in crypto, I heard AI before, is that how can I merge AI and crypto in order to provide you with security and privacy? And this is what we have here as privacy-preserving protocols. So this is where we talk about federated models aggregation, federated learning in order to enable secure and private data exchange between various government entities. And finally, fully homomorphic encryption. And for those who have heard of fully homomorphic encryption. This is a holy grail of crypto. It's still very slow, but it is moving. The idea here is that how can I provide cloud security while keeping the information encrypted, but I use AI in order to process it while keeping this information confidential and encrypted. And this is very important. For those of you who deal with cloud security today, you know that for me to secure my data, I have to encrypt it, but for me to process my data or make sense of it, I have to decrypt it. And between the time I decrypt it, then this means that I have access to the key, and there is this split of a second where it is in plain text that an attacker can come and see it. And then finally, we have the lightweight technologies. Basically, these are lightweight primitives for IoT and constrained devices and lightweight cryptographic protocols. The crypto capabilities today, they are developed with the end customer features in mind, meaning that we have the sovereign, classic, and quantum-resistant libraries. They are agile and hybrid, as this is related to what I mentioned before. If today I want to do a whole crypto revolution across the crypto systems that exist, we need to go into an agile manner. We need to do crypto deployment in a way that tomorrow, if I want to introduce another protocol, if I want to add a hybrid scheme between classic and post-quantum, this allows me to do that. A lightweight version to apply for embedded systems and IoT exists of all the classical and post-quantum libraries. An automated discovery of what exists today to analyze it, to see what needs to be replaced and replace it. And of course, proprietary is always an option and sovereignty is always the option. If we talk about the crypto ecosystem today that exists, we have the research excellence, and allow me to call it research excellence, where you continue to research and stay abreast of latest development, whether this is happening in the research institutes, whether this is happening in commercial entities like KATIM, whether this is happening in the Security Council, etc. There is plenty of research that is being done today in order to stay abreast of the latest developments and also in order to push the limit on the crypto capabilities. And of course, today, libraries don't mean much to anybody. I mean, yeah, you can give a binary, you can give a library, unless you package it into a commercial solution, the end client will not see the value. And this is why there is a very strong partnership with KATIM today to deliver those libraries and put them in specific products in order for them to be useful for the end clients. And of course, we need the support of authorities to audit, to provide the governments, and to provide the migration plan and actually to vet them. This is just an example. I think we beat the topic across the previous three talks. This is just an example of the sovereign crypto capabilities. As I mentioned, the public key crypto will be broken. You see most of what exists today, and you're all very familiar with them. HTTPS, public key infrastructure, certificates, even the certificate that you find on your ID, etc. All of this will be broken by the Shor algorithm. And this is why there has been proactiveness on product delivery, on post-quantum crypto libraries development, and also on packaging other applications around it in order to provide this post-quantum protection. I think with this, I end my talk.
Thank you, Dr. Najwa, and thank you once again to our speakers for such valuable insights. Now that we all have a clear sense of what is at stake and the parameters of challenges and opportunities, we turn to a panel of experts to explore sovereign security in practice. To help guide this discussion, please welcome Kate once again to introduce the panelists and guide the discussion.
Thank you, Ahmed, for the introduction. The practical applications of some of the important items that our distinguished speakers raised today is what we're going to focus our discussion on. I cannot think of a better group of leaders to cover this conversation. Please join me in welcoming our panelists on stage. Everyone is settled up, everyone has mic. Where's your mic? Yes.
That one?
Well, we're hoping to hear your opinion on a few items.
Thank you, Ayman.
Thank you everyone for joining me on stage. Quickly to give the audience the introduction into the experience that you will bring to the discussion today. Managing information security for some of the critical governmental and private entities, and currently Vice President and Group Chief Information Security Officer at EDGE, George Nemura. Cyber risk management and resilience expert, currently focusing on cloud and network services in Nokia, Vikas Dahiya. One of the pioneers of the sovereign technology adoption in the UAE government, and currently Chief Executive Officer at Cyber 50 Defense, Mr. Abdullah Al-Sayari. Secure communication expert in the defense and intelligence area, and our very own CEO, Didier Pani. And driving the protection of the UAE telecom infrastructure and Senior Vice President of Cyber in Etisalat, Mr. Ayman Al-Shehi. So we have a great representation both on stage and in the audience today of security and technology leaders across multiple domains. So I would like to start off this conversation with exploring with you, Abdullah, of what is unique about securing the government critical infrastructure and other essential entities.
Thank you, Kate. First of all, I would like to thank for this forum where we hear a lot of stories about really interesting things these days, and give us also the opportunity to give us our thought on that thing. So when we speak about the critical infrastructure, or let's say a different industry from that things, security will be really robust in that area, where these entities will be different from other industrial. So there's tiers always from the organization from that perspective. When it goes to the critical infrastructure, they need the robust security on it, and also custom solutions with building to the latest threat, or let's say to the latest art of sponsored for that area. So going to that things, and all what we heard from the our colleagues, which is they give the presentations, secure communication is something which is really unique in that area when we speak in the critical infrastructure. So having a dedicated solution, or having a very unique security solution for that things will give in that. And this is what we saw it, we could differentiate this is before COVID or after, post-COVID, and this is how we see it. The technology-wise, and also a lot of the adoption have been changed post-COVID, and this is something which is we saw it rapidly happening. To have for the critical infrastructure as something which could be unique for them, this is something which need to be built for the robust security for that.
And when it comes to evaluating the impact of potential security breaches to these these industries that we have in mind, how does it affect your technology choices in terms of communication security for these kind of entities?
So there's a lot of the dimension that things. For the security communications, you need to mention something which is, we will start with the technology. We could start with also data then the operations. When we start about technology, something need to be the source code at development in-house, or let's say it have been built here, because everything is the security communication. When it is compromised, you will be compromising everything. The second thing, which is about the data. So the data is something which is need to be also from that area. When you have your own source code development, you will own that data. You will make sure that the controls which have been built or put it will have the controls on it. You add it on it after that, the policy, which is the government have been work, the CC or the Cybersecurity Council working on it. And that will be efficiency your operations. And to be honest, this is something which is we tested in COVID. We are one of the users which have been in my before career, we have been using KATIM and have been used for the critical information in that area. So it was very easy to secure communication with the other, let's say, colleagues which have been working with us without potential of that things. One of the things which is we saw it in that also, there's a lot of the technologies which can be used. But one of the things which was unique in KATIM, when we use it in COVID, it can be integrated with the username, or let's say it is dedicated for the organizations. Because at the end of the day, if I'm using my phone numbers, if I'm using other dimension of that thing, something too personal, or we call it the PII. But when I use the password for the, let's say, the organization, this is something to the organization-wise.
Thank you for the insight, Abdullah. And you touched on something about securing the critical agencies, and I want to move the conversation a little bit to George, because you're currently in charge of actually information security for a massive company that is Edge. And I wanted to understand what drives your technology decisions in your organization today for the most sensitive use cases.
First of all, thank you, Kate, for having me, and good afternoon, everyone. So I'll answer this question, from the perspective of a consumer of technology solutions, covering three different dimensions: the product, the supplier, and the broader ecosystem, because we ultimately have to look at the decisions holistically. So first, we want to assess the reputation and trustworthiness of the product suppliers. Working with a supplier that has a history and long track record in delivering reputable and secure solutions will ultimately increase the confidence in the efficacy of the solution. But then the other dimension that is particularly important is around the trustworthiness. And we spoke previously about trust, I think, being at one of the main themes for this event. And validating that the provider adheres to digital trust best practices at the core of their delivery model, I think is essential. And this covers anything from ensuring that they understand and embed privacy management in their practices, security by design, secure coding practices to ensure that the product quality is at a very high level, with minimal defects and security vulnerabilities that could be exploited. For instance, I was reading recently an article on the fact that some nation states are willing to pay $20 million for a zero-day vulnerability on iOS and Android. And I think this shows you, the complexity ultimately of ensuring the security of critical use cases, and particularly sovereign capabilities, because you are relying on a complex ecosystem of suppliers, and you have to ultimately understand the supply chain of those providers, the bill of materials of the system, and I would say you have to go as far as understanding the provenance of some of the components who may be originating from potentially regions that be deemed as high risk, and this could infringe your regulatory and export control requirements. So you want to also validate that the provider is compliant with your regulatory requirements and any national directives that will attest of their adherence to requirements associated with those critical use cases. So I think this is perhaps one of the most important factors in my view to validate on the supplier side. Then when it comes to the technology solution, we want to ensure that it can be easily integrated in the critical infrastructure that it was designed for, that it is compatible and interoperable with the broader digital ecosystem, and the security solution that you may currently have in place. This will not only minimize the operational risk, but ultimately enhance the security posture of your ecosystem. Thirdly, you want to validate and assess the long-term viability and commitment to cybersecurity of this supplier. And why is this important? If we look at the cybersecurity market today, there are thousands of security providers. Many of those providers may be part of the supply chain of critical providers of national security. And the myriad of those providers are startups that are still in nascent stage of maturity, maybe in early stage of investments, and may not necessarily have a long-term financial ability. Many of those organizations either will disappear, will be acquired by technology and financial firms. So you have to at least assess, whether they will be viable in the long run. But in addition to this, you want to ensure that you're committed to investing in research and development, not only to ensure the efficacy of the solution against your critical use cases today, but that they are also future-proof and can adapt and ensure that your future needs and requirements, which may be associated with changes in the threat landscapes in your risk profile, are taken into account. So their ability to keep with the pace of change, I think, will be essential. And last but not the least, the support and expertise, I think, offered by the provider, I think, is as important as the technology, in my view. When you acquire technology, you want to ensure that it is implemented and operationalized effectively. And having support model defined with the OEM or some service providers to ensure an effective implementation and operationalization will ensure a timely delivery of new enhancements and remediation of any defects that may arise.
Thank you, Georges. Now, taking it a little bit away from the context of individual organization and bringing it to the level of the sovereign strategy as a whole, Didier, I would like to get your insights on what are the key dimensions of the nationwide sovereign strategy.
I would say there are many dimensions, of course, but I will point out 3 of them, which looks for me very important. So the first is technology origin, the second is data sovereignty, and the third is operation. So when it comes to the technology origin, so the UAE have decided to invest in their own cryptography, and I think it's a very important decision. And our in KATIM, we are developing on top of this cryptography. So I would say, of course, developing our own technology is very important for the sovereignty, but not only one company or only one country can develop 100% of the technology because it's moving so fast. So we must also rely on strong partnerships, local partnerships, international partnerships, and also cooperation with other countries. And this is a very also important topic. The second point is data sovereignty. Data sovereignty relies on 2 things, I would say. Of course, we know how to store, we know how to communicate our data safely thanks to this technology equipment. This is one important point, but there is also a very important point is the regulation. We must make sure that international regulation or regulations issued by countries, but I would say crossing the borders, will not interfere also with our data sovereignty because as Dr. Hamad mentioned, so data is the new oil, and there are billions of revenues that are made with the data. So it's very also important to make sure that both our technology and the regulation preserve our data from any threat. And the third one is the operations. So security is a never-ending battle. Technology is moving very fast. There are new threats coming up every day. So we must also get prepared to manage this battle on a very long-term perspective. It's not only implementing security in our organization or infrastructure that will make us secure. What is important is to have this secure mindset. So the people must be aware that security is a long battle that will be won or lost every moment, every second, every day. And we must get prepared to this long battle, which will need, of course, financial efforts, but also personal efforts, whatever the level of the people in our organization. So for me, these are the most important things to make sure that, I would say, the sovereignty of the country will be put up with this data.
Thank you. You actually touched upon a few interesting points that I want to dive deeper into, because I think we have a very right representation for this conversation at this stage today. Regarding the technology partnership that you've mentioned in the technology aspect of the sovereignty conversation, because what do you think is the best way to balance the global tech players, the big tech players, and the smaller sovereign technology providers for the better results?
Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to emphasize on a couple of points. One is that national interest, data sovereignty, data localization is very critical. We have to make sure as a nation to keep the data secure. I need not emphasize the importance of data. At the same time, we also need to collaborate with technology vendors like Nokia to bring the best practices, the innovation that has happened through our research arm, which is Nokia Bell Labs, and the fact that Nokia works very closely with standardization bodies like 3GPP, GSMA, National Institute of Standards and Technology. We are working for various technology areas. 5G happens to be one of them. 6G is going to be reality in few years. Dr. Najwa spoke a great length about how post-quantum world is going to be so different. Quantum computing is going to be a reality in 2 to 3 years. So what we want to do is, and we have been working extensively with governments, with critical infrastructure providers across the globe. And as part of that initiative, we want to collaborate and also bring innovation of cutting-edge technologies to different parts of the world, including UAE. And the balance has to be that you bring those technologies into the kingdom, also making sure that the data sovereignty, data localization part is also taken care of. And having Center of Excellence labs, the way we did with the US federal government, Nokia has been chosen as the vendor for setting up a National Cybersecurity Center of Excellence as part of NIST initiative. And we are using the 5G test bed to evaluate all new technologies, including quantum safe cryptography. So just taking care of these areas. Also the fact that security has to be embedded as part of all new initiatives, right? Whether we are talking about fueling any of the enterprises through private wireless networks, or we are talking about network slicing, which is going to take off sooner or later. We need to make sure as private technology providers and as government and communication system, these service providers, we need to make sure that the right security is in place, which is underpinning all new initiatives. And any use case that you build on top of it is absolutely secure. So, and Nokia is playing a critical role working with leading communication service providers as well as other enterprise networks as well. Thank you.
Thank you, because I think it actually covers the technology aspect quite in depth. Thank you for the insight. And moving to the items that you raised around the data sovereignty and operations, I think it will be very important to get your perspective, Ivan, coming from a national telecommunication provider. What role does a provider like yours play in these aspects?
First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity, Jacob and Kata. I'm glad to be here with you. So basically, I'm very, very proud of what KATIM has been achieved on supporting the sovereignty strategy. Having the supreme authority on the technology to support this is very important. I'll go back to the question regarding why it is important for government entities and mission critical. Due to the scale and the complexity of the services being provided. For example, if you see the example mentioned by Dr. Hamid about Dubai Now or hundreds of services behind single services, and any data breach will have a huge impact toward this. So therefore, it's very important to protect these services due to the impact. They mentioned also the incident happened in US flight. It had a huge impact on the economy. Therefore, it's also very important to have collaborations between private and public sector along with government, because fighting independently the cyber criminal, it is not something you will be able to do. So collaboration is very important to defend in that alliance. And I think at Salah Dubai and in collaborations with the government and with the government, such needs to also contribute in that strategic vision accordingly. So when it comes to Salah Dubai and providing, secure communication when it comes to 5G, for example. 5G adoption, widespread 5G, introducing new measures of security compared to the earlier communications. The more we adopt a new innovation technology, the more secure the communication is. And this communication also, expand with innovation when we talk about IoT. More IoT devices are connected to these networks and impose their own risk associated with that. So it is very important to look at these aspects to protect this. So we follow a certain strict process when we evaluate technology, for example. So we do a risk assessment. We see what vendors, if he really looking at cybersecurity seriously or not. So one advice we look at, when you look at a certain standard, GDPR or HIPAA or PCI compliance, not necessarily look at it from legal compliance, but also if you look at it from best practice implementation, it helps a lot in this. So most organizations look at these from legal compliance, but I think it's also helpful if you look at these requirements from best practice implementation. That's in a nutshell.
Thank you, Ayman. Well, I think we all appreciated this stage and with the audience that we have in the room today, the importance of the sovereign technology, because majority of the leaders here in the room actually deal with very sensitive communications on a daily basis. Let's switch a little bit to a less pretty side of this coin, the challenges that adopting the sovereign technology come with. George, I know you've led a few big technology implementation projects, and I wanted to get your perspective of what are the main challenges or obstacles you faced while implementing it, and what can you recommend to the organizations on how to overcome them?
Sure. So I'll share some insights, both reflecting on existing development that we're having, for instance, with TII on adopting some sovereign capabilities, but also, I think more broadly, some return on experience on some of the barriers and obstacles that we may face in scaling and accelerating the adoption of such capabilities. So I think the first one I can think of is around creating some incentives. And I think those market incentives can be in the form of national directives, regulations. They will typically be the ones that will help ensure at least a common adoption of those sovereign capabilities. And I think the UAE is definitely leading that front, establishing national directives and policies that will help in the acceleration of the adoption, but also ensuring that we're not early adopters. Now, in some cases, and if I take, for instance, my example and the collaboration I'm currently having with TII, we made a deliberate decision to be the testbed for some of the sovereign crypto library and other secure cryptographic developments that they're currently working on. We'll have to be thoughtful, I think, on where we apply and operationalize those use cases, given that they are still in the development stage. But I think this will give them also very meaningful return on experience from a customer on the efficacy and maybe also the support considerations they need to plan as they look at scaling maybe the solutions later on. The second one, which is more of a systemic problem that is not, specific to the sovereign use cases, but I think is relevant and important when it comes to the cybersecurity community. There is a global skills and capacities shortage that may be hindering the ability to assess effectively and meaningfully those sovereign capabilities. And this may potentially also hinder the implementation and operationalization of those capabilities. Again, if we look at some of the data points that we're receiving from industry, there are, few million open positions, but I think if we're looking at the roles and the skills that we need to accelerate the adoption of those capabilities, the shortage may be more acute. I think the third point, which links with the previous one, is around the availability of information on these particular products and sovereign solutions. We often have to rely on the OEM, the service providers, or peers when it comes to making risk-informed buying decisions. And given also the limitations in resources and time, then we may have to potentially rely on this information, but this will also lead to having some blind spots perhaps in the coverage or efficacy of the solution against some critical use cases. So I think this is an operational risk and maybe also security risk that we need to weigh on, and I'll talk about the solutions on how to overcome maybe some of those barriers that we're facing today. And I think the last one, which is also particularly salient, is around the time pressure. We are, I think, in a digital era today where there is an increased pace and speed in digitalization, but also in the threat landscape that we're trying to keep up with. And we'll often have to prioritize operational related issues against maybe transformative initiatives, that will be linked with, the development and implementation of sovereign capabilities. So striking the right balance, can be particularly challenging for internal cybersecurity organizations. So I'll maybe touch on, a couple opportunities to explore to overcome some of those barriers. I think the first one is to strengthen public-private collaboration. I think to ensure that there is, increased level of insight sharing on those products, the mandates, and also the incentives, to accelerate the adoption, by also touching on, the value and which use cases it may be applied to. And I think second, and this could be broadened perhaps, to a bigger consortium, which will include also academia and maybe some other organization, is increasing the level of information sharing around those sovereign capabilities. And of course, this has to be done, with the right trust-based mechanisms to ensure that those assessments, the defects, and potentially considerations that have to be made in the adoption are disseminated across this community of trusted, organizations that will have to adopt those capabilities in order to accelerate the adoption.
Thank you. You actually mentioned something in your response that gives us a perfect segue to our final question. And I think all of our keynote speakers today also highlighted the importance of thinking about the future now, because if you're thinking actually about it today, it's already too late. So we need to accelerate with all the digitalization pace. And I wanted to to save a little bit more time for this part of the conversation, to get a bit more perspectives on where we're going in terms of the national sovereign security, and what are the strategies or emerging trends that we foresee over the next decade. And if we can start with you, Vikas, answering to this question would be great.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with George. We are seeing new technologies like AI, ChatGPT, quantum computing, which is going to be a reality soon. So ChatGPT, for instance, is being used for good cause as well as for bad cause as well. So as they say, English is a new coding language, right? So you write something and you get a malicious script which can be used for bad cause. It is imperative that AI, machine learning, these large language models are being used to monitor your network very effectively at a scale and at a speed, so that the dwell time of any attack within the network is cut short, and you are able to detect and monitor and then remediate the problem sooner than later. So I couldn't emphasize more on this point that adoption of these technologies need to happen, and we are working extensively with the communication service providers like Etisalat to have a monitoring, a SOC, or as they call it, as the automation center, where detection happens and it is being quickly monitored, remediated, and you have a response which goes out in real time. And also the fact that cryptography, which was elaborated in previous sessions, we need to make sure that the certificates that are the basis for any secure communication, as and when we have new quantum computers which are going to be available, we need to make sure that we are ready. So we are crypto agile as a network, and we are able to migrate from our existing public key infrastructure onto the post-quantum cryptography, right? So crypto agility is one area where we are analyzing. We are in the engineering phase. We are looking at various options so that we are able to introduce these new standards of cryptography into our product life cycles. And as and when the quantum cryptography standards are standardized, we are able to deploy them without creating any downtimes. So I would say that these two innovations, the ChatGPT and also the quantum computing, are going to be two big areas to watch out for, and we need to make sure that we keep pace with these technologies and try to proliferate these technologies into the 5G networks and the security operation centers that monitor these telemetry.
Thank you. Ayman, from the standpoint of the telecommunications provider, where do you think the future battle of the 10 years is going to lay?
10 years is long. Yeah, but I think AI and machine learning is one of the definitely areas. And it has also pros and cons. So when it comes to cybersecurity, you can use the AI and machine learning and incident response, and, because when you look at main challenges that we have in cybersecurity, the human capital. And the amount of, I want to say incident, but the cybersecurity incident is raising a big time. And the current skill set in the market is starving compared to the amount of this. So we have to automate, we have to use the innovation technology with AI and machine learning to be able to defend and protect on these emerging risks. And I think I agree with the team that this is AI and machine learning is one of the can be used, because the bad guys and also the cyber criminals are using the technology. And if they are ahead of the curve of us, then we might have a very challenging situation. So I think we need to have that as the other side is also from data sovereignty, also edge computing is also, because decentralizing the data at the edge also help protect the data instead of having the data in the central data center. So that also, I think I see it as a way where we're evolving that the data should be so we are working a number of projects, for example, 5G edge, where we have the 5G technology at the edge of the customer side instead of having this process in the center part. So this is also another dimension we look at. Post-quantum is also, I know we're talking about 10 years or 15 years. Some people might say this is a long time, but I think it's very important to act now instead of acting later, and then it will be more difficult to fix the challenge.
We have a little bit of time for one more perspective on this matter, because I think it's actually the most engaging part of the conversation. I see, George, you wanted to add something.
I wanted to second Ayman, and in my view, artificial intelligence and quantum computing are going to reshape the balance in the digital realm. in the next several years. I think we are today, I think, in an inflection point, as most organizations are digitizing and governments very fast, and the level of hyperconnectivity, I think, is increasing at an exponential pace. And therefore, the attack surface and the risk associated, I think, with the digitalization are now becoming an existential threat, potentially, for our society. And there is an imperative, I think, for organizations and governments to invest significantly in cyber defense and resilient capabilities, advanced ones, not just the traditional, but I think they are developing more advanced capabilities, and many of those capabilities will be either AI-driven capabilities to increase the level of threat detection and the pace at which we can identify, detect, and respond to those advanced threats. But when it comes to quantum computing, and Dr. Najwa spoke very well on this point, the threat can potentially impact all the cryptographic algorithms that are protecting the data that is fueling the fourth industrial revolution. So there is significant risk and potentially impact we need to start planning for today in order to be ready in the next 10 years.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's actually a nice wrap-in for our conversation today, that we need to act now to get ready for the challenges that the future will bring us. Thank you, gentlemen, for your insights today. I think they brought a lot of interesting perspective to the practicalities of sovereign technology adoption that is important for each and every person in this room today. We covered both the benefit and the challenges that this technology brings with it. And one of the main goals of the KATIM Trust event is actually to enable this information and experience exchange for leaders in the industry. So thank you once again. Before our program continues, we have a 15-minute break, so use it to grab some refreshments and network with the leaders you have here in the room, and we'll see you here in 15 minutes. Thank you. Dear guests, the program will restart in 5 minutes, so we kindly invite you to take your seats. Thank you. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we will begin in a few minutes. I invite you to kindly take your seats. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the program will resume in 1 minute. For those who haven't yet taken their seats, please welcome back the main area. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had some great time to refresh yourselves and have a great side chats, discussing further the fantastic topics that have been raised earlier today. We have focused that part of our event on exploring the trends and the technology development in the sovereign technology area. And right now is the time for exciting moment of announcing KATIM's own innovation in that area. And for that, please join me in welcoming the Vice President of Ultra Secure Applications at KATIM, Pasha Mohammed.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, let's start with a small icebreaker. How many of you, by the show of hands, can tell me who know what a Rupert's drop is? Anybody heard about a thing called Rupert's drop? There's one hand up. That's good. Rupert is a 17th century European royal who stumbled on this phenomena where if you take molten glass and drop it into cold water, it produces a type of crystal, a type of material. It looks something like this. It has a body and a long tail. And the interesting fact about this particular material is it is one of the strongest materials that you can think of. If you shoot a bullet at it, the bullet will disintegrate before the crystal actually breaks. That's how strong it is. You can actually put it under a vise or hammer it with a metal hammer. It won't break. That's how strong that material is. However, just like everything in nature, this thing has a weakness. And that weakness is, if you happen to take tail, apply even a little pressure, just a little pressure, it'll pop. The whole thing will break apart. A very interesting concept, very interesting natural phenomena, which we can learn from actually. We are all here because we all care about security profoundly, right? We all do security as a key aspect of our daily lives. That's the reason why we care about security and we are here. So in our daily lives, when we look at security, we worry about this knowledge matrix. We have known knowns, we have unknown knowns, unknown unknowns, and known knowns. Sorry, known unknowns. The idea behind this is essentially, as a security expert, we care about everything that we know we need to protect, and we do a very good job trying to address that in our daily lives. We also, from unknown knowns point of view, such as shadow IT and whatnot, we worry about it, we try to prepare for that, we try to dig more and more and try to understand what else we don't know so that we can prepare better. And then there is this known unknowns. We already know about these areas. We know we have gaps, and we need to fix those gaps. So we pursue them. We try to put a lot of resources towards those unknowns, and we try to fix those problems. And then we have unknown unknowns. We don't know about these things, and probably we don't know about their existence, nor do we have the knowledge about it. So these are the ones that worry us the most. Any security expert, anybody who is responsible for the organizational security of their respective agencies and businesses worries about this box. In real life, though, these unknowns are much bigger than the rest of the three. In terms of size, pure size, unknowns are much bigger. And this is where the tails of our Rupert drops are. This is where the tails of our Rupert drops are. What does it mean? A message that has been sent by a friend on our WhatsApp, for example, a link, video, asking us to see something, it can include any kind of unknown vulnerability that might be bringing into the organization. An email, a simple, let me go to Starbucks and share my location to a friend of mine kind of an activity can turn into one of those tails that can pop the security of our whole organization. And this is the reason why KATIM has created an ultra-secure applications platform. This is where we said to onboard the applications, to bring value to the customer, we need to start at the basics of making sure that we are bringing the customers, end users properly, we are bringing the end users' devices properly into the ecosystem, and so on. So on that platform, which we call KATIM 2.0, we are going to be talking about our first product that we would like to introduce today.
So we are following information about a worldwide hacking attack. I've seen some federal and state government
believed to be from the cyber criminals. The group warns that if a ransom is not paid, after 7 days, all your data will start to be published.
Every continent were targeted by those groups in 2022. About a quarter of that.
And unfortunately, most at risk here is personal information and unfortunately healthcare information.
In a world where the boundaries of technology are constantly pushed, where we stand on the brink of a quantum future, there exists a beacon of sovereign security, a guardian of trust, a pioneer forging paths into the unknown with foresight and innovation. We journey into the heart of KATIM, a realm where trust meets innovation, where guardians of the highest echelons of business and technology find a fortress, a sanctuary offering the ultimate peace of mind. This is the birthplace of KATIM Connect, a platform built from ground up, leveraging custom cryptography, homegrown solutions, offering an unbreachable fortress safeguarding the most valuable assets in the digital realm: trust. Behold, the frontier of secure communications, a testament to the innovation gene we embody, the brand revelation of product born from the heart of KATIM, a beacon shining brightly in a world yearning for sovereign security. Welcome to KATIM Connect, bridging distances, securing trust in the realm of quantum computing. KATIM Connect.
So KATIM Connect is our first application that is built on this platform, with many more to come in future. This application is going to be introducing new capabilities that all our government, military, and defense intelligence agencies, as well as critical infrastructure, industry-related agencies and organizations can start using. This is going to give us the ability to do communications end-to-end encrypted with the latest and greatest technologies that are available out there in the market. We are talking about capabilities that are going to make sure that organizations don't have to worry about from the long tail of the Rupert's drop of their organizational security. So let me go into the details of how this application and this platform actually works. Anytime a customer signs up for KATIM Connect, the first thing that they would like to do is set up their organization in what we call an admin console. This console is a browser-based tool that is going to let you, as an administrator for your organization, to define how you want to schedule and set up your organization from the application and 2.0 platform functionality point of view. Within this admin console, the administrator will be able to create users. They will be able to add them manually, or they can upload a bunch of users using a spreadsheet. They will also be able to set up organizational settings that are going to let the manager or administrator manage the whole organization's overall storage, overall policies, permissions. They will be able to create roles. They will be able to create groups of users. And we also have a cool capability called user circles, whereby they can define restrictive groups of users that can only communicate among themselves. To make it much more easier for administrators to onboard this solution, we have also integrated Active Directory into this. Using this Active Directory integration, an organization that already is managing their user management through Active Directory will be able to, with a few clicks, integrate the solution with Active Directory and onboard all the users that are already within the Active Directory system. Here's an example of how they would be able to do so. What you will notice is, just by a couple of clicks, you are able to onboard a whole organization's worth of users into the system relatively very easily. Here's a user that has been onboarded already, just merely by a couple of clicks. We have introduced this application to be supported on 4 different form factors. What you see is a Windows application, Android, MacBook, and iOS-related form factors are available. The application looks and behaves the exact same on all those environments. And once users are onboarded, these applications can be pushed to the end users, either using enterprise store kind of concept or MDM, mobile device management kind of environment that a customer might be using to push the application to the end users. Since this application is a little focused on security in a differentiated manner, we don't want this application to be on public app stores, and that's the reason why we propose a private delivery of the solution to the end users. Let's dive a little deeper into the Connect application itself. Here are the 2 key capabilities the application brings to you. One is the chatting capability, and the other one is the calling capability. We'll dig deeper into this a little, but just wanted to highlight the 2 key end-to-end communication scenarios with end-to-end encryption that we have addressed in this solution. So the application has 4 key areas within the application's user experience. At the bottom, you will see a home tab, a chat tab, a rooms tab, and a directory tab. These four areas basically provide the user experience of the users to easily navigate and get to what they're trying to do. For example, home screen is a setup of all the key conversations, key rooms or meetings that you will be participating in a single, easy-to-view manner, so that it's easy for a user to find out what exactly is going on and what they need to pay attention to immediately. The chats capability, Chats tab is going to give you the ability to have conversations with other users. Similarly, Rooms is where you manage your conferences and video meetings. And the last one, the Files folder, is where you have the ability to navigate through your local content as well as your content in a secure cloud environment. Here is an example of one-on-one chat communication. One user will be able to initiate the conversation with another user, and what they receive and send is end-to-end encrypted in such a manner that even the servers involved in this whole transmission have no clue what is going on, and they won't be able to decrypt that unless they have the key material from either of the users. And the users will be able to do the standard message management capabilities. Sorry, before I go there, let me also talk about group chat capability. Just like one-on-one chat, now you'll be able to talk to multiple people together into a group. You can create as many groups as you want within the permits of what your administrator has allowed you, and you will be able to have these kind of conversations within the group chat setting. And when it comes to the capabilities that are available in terms of handling messages, we support all kinds of functionalities from reactions to replies. You can reply individually or you can reply to everyone. You'll be able to forward the messages. You'll be able to pin the messages. You'll be able to delete the messages and so on. It's a very rich message management capability that are built into this application. Here are some examples that we are showing. Bunch of messages are selected. More than one individual can be picked in order to forward that message or the set of messages that you have selected. Similarly, we have also given the priority in terms of how you want to manage your messages. Certain messages, certain conversations are important. Some conversations are high priority. So we have given you the ability to do pinning and starring. When you star a particular message, that message is going to be from your favorites. You will be able to easily search for those kinds of starred messages. Similarly, pinning a conversation will make sure that that particular conversation stays at the top of your list of conversations. You can also send content. So you'll be able to send and receive different types of information, such as files, pictures, videos, audio recordings. You can either pick it from already existing content on your phone or in your cloud drive, or you will be able to actually record on the fly. You can take a picture on the fly and share. You will be able to record something on the fly and share. You will also be able to record an audio message and be able to share it with other users. We have built some nice confidentiality-related capabilities. We have built time-sensitive messages. We have built what we call message obfuscation. When you are flying, for example, this scenario is very relevant, right? People who are sitting behind you or standing next to you would be able to read your messages you don't want. So you just tap on the screen, the whole conversation is going to be obfuscated, or you can just pick one message that you don't want anybody else to read, and you can click it 3 times and it will be obscured. And you click 3 times again in order for it to come back. Time-sensitive messages are messages that you will be able to transmit by saying this is how long that message is going to be available to the receivers after the message has been opened. You have a wide variety of settings in terms of 1 minute or 5 minutes, 1 hour, and so on, that you will be able to pick from in order to send time-sensitive messages. Now, coming to the calling functionality, we have built a very robust end-to-end encrypted video calling capability into this application. You are able to talk to people one-on-one. You will be able to converse with people using video communications in group settings as well. And the capabilities built into the application are rate adaptive. That means depending on the bandwidth and the kind of network that is available to you, the solution will adjust itself in terms of its quality of video. Around this video calling capability, we also built something called meeting rooms. Meeting rooms are a way for you to create groups that you are going to be interacting with frequently, people that you are going to be meeting. Your own team, for example, on a weekly basis, if you're meeting, you would rather have a persistent room that is created for that, so that you can go and join that room and meet with those folks at any given time. You also have in-session chat capability. Just like the group chat here, Room will also have its own chat capability that you will be able to go into and conduct all your business just like the way I have explained, with all the features that are available for one-on-one and group communication, group chat communications. Here's an example of somebody creating a meeting room from scratch. 3 clicks and have your meeting room is created. You can select all the people that you need, go ahead and give it a name and a description. Now this becomes a persistent meeting room. Done. Now you'll be able to go to that meeting and either talk to people, add additional folks as needed, or you will be able to enter the meeting, which is going to make a call to all the participants that you have added, and now you'll be able to meet virtually. Again, end-to-end, encrypted, totally secure. Now let's talk about how we are adding additional capabilities and additional functionality into this roadmap. We are bringing scheduled meetings, recurring meetings, transcribing, meeting notes, meeting summaries, recording the meeting capability, as well as a state-of-the-art whiteboard capability using which you can have productive, very engaging conversations with your colleagues. We also built into the application the capability to handle files. As I was mentioning earlier, we see that commercially available applications may not have this truly integrated capability. We also have a data at rest and data in transmission enabled, security enabled solutions for cloud storage. So we have built that capability into this app where you will be able to select and share files entirely securely end to end. So here an example where you can see a list of files that are available for the user to pick from and be able to send it to other people. Similarly, you will be able to receive a file from one of our communications, and you will be able to pick that file and be able to save it to your organization's or your individual cloud storage. So in this example, this user is moving that particular file to the drive. We call it drive, the cloud storage environment. This makes it very easy for you to maintain all your content at your fingertips within the same communication tool that you're using. That's the same experience that is being shown on a mobile device. Okay, we also built this capability to be a multi-point of presence enabled environment. That means you can have up to 6 devices, doesn't matter the form factor, Windows, iOS, Android, Mac, doesn't matter. You can have up to 6 devices. Each one of your communications, each one of your rooms, each one of your files that you have used on one device is automatically maintained in all the 6 points of presence. This makes it very convenient for people to take the environment, the solution to wherever they are. While you are in the office, you can use your desktop environment. While you're on the move, you'll be able to use mobile environment, but not miss a single feature or single piece of information that you really need. And we do have a robust roadmap also where we are going to be bringing additional capabilities as we go along. As I promised, 2.0 platform is not a single-trick pony. It has a lot of capabilities that we have on the roadmap that we would like to bring to the table. So with this, I want you guys to have an opportunity to actually experience the product in the environment that we have set up in the back of the room, where you can actually live experience the product, obviously towards the end of the session. But thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you the new product, and I'm really excited for the future of where this is going to take us. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Pasha, for the fantastic introduction. We know you might have some questions, but we invite you to hold them a little bit before we open up for an open question and answer session, because we have one more important announcement to make. Along with KATIM Trust event today, we are rolling out a special program that is called C-Trust to the community of leaders that are present here today. And I'm very happy to invite our client operations lead, Mohammed Al-Suki, to give further details about the program. Please welcome Mohammed.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Your Excellencies, honored participants, ladies and gentlemen, old bosses and new bosses. When I think of our future, three words come to mind: secure, connected, and prosperous. But these are not just words. They are the pillars upon which KATIM has built its legacy. At KATIM, our mission is clear and unwavering. Every day we come to work with a goal to fortify Abu Dhabi and the UAE against cybersecurity challenges of tomorrow. There is no other alternative. Why? Because in this digital era, a nation's strength is not just about its economy, people, culture, or even defense. It's also expressed in its ability to protect the privacy, security, and integrity of the invisible lines of communication that connect the nation to itself and to the rest of the world. This digital communication realm is vast. Its boundaries stretch further than the eye can see. It's a realm that is constantly evolving, innovating, and finding new ways to connect us and our devices. That innovation has empowered advances that once were only dreams, but they also have empowered bad actors. And so, with this great innovations comes great responsibility. The responsibility to ensure that our communications, the very lifebloods of our modern future-forwarded digital nations, remains sound, secure, and trusted. I stand before you today with an announcement that underscores our commitment at KATIM to take on this great responsibility. I am pleased to introduce the KATIM Trust program. We have built this program for leaders as well as technical experts. To the leaders in the room, I say, this is not just another ordinary program. This is a revolution. Through KATIM Trust, we have reimagined how to build communities, share insights in regards to cybersecurity and secure communications. With KATIM Trust, you will gain unparalleled insights from the industry's best. You will be immersed in high-impact seminars and contribute to the future of secure communications. As a member of KATIM Trust, You are invited to attend a curated series of security seminars. These are not generic presentations. They are carefully tailored to the unique challenges we face today and into our future. Through the unique discussions at KATIM Trust, you will interact with industry pioneers and gain insights that will shape your own strategic decision-making. But good leadership is about listening as much as it's about directing. That's why, beyond these seminars, we also are creating a platform for collaborative dialogue. We are creating a space where you can preview technologies and witness the future of secure communications through our real-time interactive demos. These won't be abstract concepts. They will be tangible solutions that you can see, touch, and understand. They will showcase the benefits of secure communications in action. Now, in regards to your technical gurus in your organization, for them, we will provide in-depth security workshops that dive deep and go beyond the surface. Your teams will have opportunities to discuss and understand real-world scenarios. They will analyze the challenges and architect the solutions. Our aim, to ensure every entity and company operating in UAE can thrive in this new digital age. Here then, it's our pledge. The KATIM Trust program is our contribution to the industry and nation. This is not a commercial pitch. Every aspect of the KATIM Trust program is offered at no cost. It's our investment in building a future where the UAE stands as a beacon of cyber trust. So, as we embark on this journey, I invite each one of you to be an active participant, to question, to challenge, to innovate, and contribute. By coming together, we won't only shape the future of secure communications, we will secure the future of our nation. KATIM's ready? Are you?
Thank you, Mohammed. I hope everybody noted the email address that you're supposed to register at to get access to this fantastic program. I think it's a great contribution to the daily struggles you're having in your organizations. As promised, we're going to open right now for a brief Q&A session. We will have KATIM representatives moving around with the microphone, so please raise your hand if you want to ask the question, and I'll either address them myself or redirect it to our company leadership. And forgive me if I won't be able to see every one of you. Might be needing to raise your hand a bit higher because the light's hitting me right in the face. So those who are a bit further away, I might not be able to see. So any questions you might have, please, you're welcome. Don't be shy. Any hands that I'm not seeing? Yes, please, Simon. Asra, in the front row, we have our distinguished panelist. We should cap the microphone with you.
Thank you very much. I think my question related to KATIM Connect application. I think this is a great initiative and supporting the sovereign strategy as well, to have alternatives which is completely independent within the nation. And I just want to understand whom we are targeting with that application. Is it consumer? Is it enterprises? What are we trying to achieve or to address with that application? Is it a replacement for Teams, or or Zoom or whatever. So from strategy point of view, what was the intention of creating that connector?
Thank you, Aman. That's a great question. So let's take this myself. Overall, the main customer for KATIM Connect are organizations. So we're not targeting end users, and I think Pasha mentioned in his presentation that it's also limited in terms of the distribution mechanism. So it implies having an enterprise behind it to be able to distribute the application, because due to the usage of the sovereign cryptography, obviously we cannot publish it in the public Apple Store or other Play stores. So the customer is the organization, because at the end of the day, you're all here leaders protecting the organizational data, not the private data of the users. So in that sense, we are not necessarily targeting at replacing any specific niche players. This is an addition for especially those organizations that deal with the ultra-sensitive use cases. So we're talking about the organizations that right now might be relying on enterprise-grade solutions, some of which you've mentioned, but shouldn't be. So we're talking defense intelligence, critical infrastructure, other sensitive government aspects, and even some of the enterprise customers for the group of the users that deal with a bit more sensitive information, be it special project, legal, executive teams, and so on. So this is from the position standpoint, the way we're thinking about KATIM Connect. Pash, I don't see you, but if you want to add anything, feel free.
Absolutely spot on. That's our intention. We realize that there are going to be users, a community of users that need a communication tool that is going to be above and beyond the commercially available tools. And that is not going to make it very easy for a compromised user to take the data and send it elsewhere. So we built this as a closed-end solution where only certain users and certain organizations will be able to have access to this tool. So when the question is, how do we handle this when we are interacting with the third party? The answer depends on how valuable is the third party. Is the third party, for example, is it my wife that I'm trying to send a message to, or is it my colleague that is overseas that I need to send a message to, or is it a business partner? If we treat that other party is very important, we need to bring them into the ecosystem rather than taking the solution to generic public is our approach.
Basically bringing the trusted ecosystem that you're operating with and registering them as part of your system. You can address them as a partner or some other tag to distinguish between the internal users and partners, but you'll need to bring them in rather than we integrate with some third-party solutions. I guess that's the point. Yes, please.
As a client, what would be my options for the deployment? Whether it would be on-prem or cloud, what exactly is the options that I have?
Thank you for the fantastic question, and I think that's the only part that we actually didn't cover in depth in presentation. The idea is to have flexibility for our customers, and because it's an ultra-secure solution, of course, first and foremost, we offer the on-premise deployment options, because for majority of you here, that's actually the only way to go. But there's a second line of defense for those customers that are open to more flexible deployment models and they can accommodate within the realm of their organization security policies. We can offer it also as a service. So if you have a preference in terms of the underlying platform, let's say you have a cloud of your choice, be it a national cloud here in the UAE or any of the commercial clouds, if your security policies allow that, we can deploy there as well. And alternatively, it also can be offered as a KATIM hosted option for you. If the on-prem is a little bit too ultra-secure for you, and it of course comes also with significant investment into the underlying infrastructure, but you're not willing to go into the commercial cloud providers, we're offering middle ground of giving you a KATIM hosted option. Thank you, Walid, for the question.
I'm saying first question, the difficult one, and the remaining will follow, no? I'm just continuing what Walid asking. So what I understand from you, the application will be hosted either on-prem or on, let's say, private cloud, not any of the mega cloud. So if we go to the next question, how you can ensure end-to-end security based on an application if it is like on-prem or a third-party cloud. So only you are depending on the application level to secure end-to-end, or there will be a secured part, depends on the client.
To the deployment part. That's a fantastic question. Pasha, you want to take this one?
No, we call our solution end-to-end encrypted solution. That means when a sender sends a message, our application encrypts that message with a set of keys. Only the receiver who is that message is intended to will be able to open it. Not a network device that this originator is connected to, not a Wi-Fi unit, a router, or the service provider in the middle, or the cloud infrastructure, or the solution. None of them can see that message because that's the end-to-end encryption aspect. So you can have this message sitting on all these elements for millions of years, but you can be rest assured that unless you have the key material to decrypt it, you are so totally safe.
Okay, clear. So depending, like anybody can see the message, but nobody can read it.
Thank you for the question. There's somebody there, I think. Yes. Atra?
Thank you very much. Before floating my question, I have a question. I'm sure the data must be stored in the encrypted form in the mobile phone as well. I have a question. I'm sure the data or messages, they are also stored in the mobile phone memory in encrypted form. If it is so, sometime we need to carry out the forensic analysis. In that case, how we are going to retrieve the encrypted data and carry out a forensic analysis? That is one question. Second question, how will you restrict, since you are connecting your mobile with the Active Directory as well, so how will you restrict an anonymous user to become the part of the ring? Is there some identity authentication or not? There are two questions.
Sure, question. So from the data at rest encryption point of view, once the device, mobile device or the desktop receives communication and it's able to use right set of keys to decrypt the material, that material goes into the sandbox of the application, which is again data at rest encrypted, so that any unauthorized access for that particular data store is completely prevented. So from that perspective, your end user device is totally sanitized and totally safe. You are talking about scenarios associated with auditing and compliance. Am I understanding it right? Forensic analysis. So for those scenarios, we do have a solution. I'll be more than happy to explain it to you at the booth, how it actually works. And it does go through a lot of security measures to ensure that unauthorized access of end user data is not accommodated easily. But we do have a ways of actually letting the forensics and authorized law-related activities can be taken upon individual end user devices. Lawful interception.
The second question was, how can you restrict an anonymous user to become the member of the user of an organization?
So user onboarding is taken very seriously in our solution. That's the reason why our solution is built as a platform. And some of the capabilities in the platform actually make sure that user trust and device trust are established way upfront in the process. So unless a user has been authorized and created by an administrator, you won't be able to automatically give them access to the solution. So we restrict it by making sure that the Active Directory integration is still controlled by the administrator, whereby just because a user has Active Directory account doesn't mean they will automatically get the solution. And the second thing is, how do we distribute the application? Since the application is not available to be publicly downloaded from any app store, those who are given access to the solution are the only ones who will be receiving the application as well through control mechanisms.
But at the end of the day, it's an administrator-facilitated registration process. So unless administrator actually enabled that person, they will not be able, even if somehow they got the application installed on their device, unregulated, they cannot get access to actually communication platform unless they are enabled by the administrator, which represents our organization.
And the same thing goes to end-user devices. You can, just because we support multi-point of presence doesn't mean you can just keep on adding devices. each new device that is added to the user account has to be cross-verified from the other devices. So we have built in all those mechanisms to make sure that rogue users don't get access to the system, nor do they bring rogue devices that are not managed by the enterprise or organization that is delivering the solution to them.
No, probably the last question. Since you have mentioned that only the key is known by the end users, so probably you are using the symmetric key encryption. Normally the symmetric key brings quite an overhead. So have you done some performance analysis? I mean, how many users at some extent can use this application within an organization?
Yes, we have done extensive performance testing on the application, and we have confidence that a high level of confidence that we'll be able to support millions of users using this platform, no questions. We do have a totally end-to-end automated system that is continually pounding the platform to let us know where the gaps are in terms of performance and gives us the opportunity to fine-tune those. We are at a point where we have high confidence that number of users is not a limitation, there is number of sessions.
Thank you very much.
And just to add to that, we have built the platform in such a manner that it is scalable dynamically when it comes to the hosted environments. So our solution can span or spin up additional nodes as needed when traffic is high, and automatically scale down when the demand is low. So those performance-related aspects are built into the platform. See one more question?
Yes.
Go ahead.
First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. I really enjoyed it. I like the solution off of first sight. I wanted to know what's your directions for the future in terms of hands-free meetings? Are you looking at analytics so that we no longer have to do note-taking, we no longer have to do meeting minutes in order for, I'm just looking for extension for individuals that need to join a meeting but don't have access to laptops or a pen and paper. Because I can see the use case, you know, if you're talking about security purposes, these are people that are out in the field. You know, that for me is the most important element that I think is the next stage of the evolution. And then the last one, which you kind of covered, which was the current usability in terms of numbers. How many people are currently using? What have you done in terms of field testing? And I think these are the elements that I want to know. Thank you.
I'll try to follow you. I'll try to keep track of all the questions. The first question was regarding what are future capabilities that we're planning on building, especially technological innovations such as artificial intelligence. We're absolutely actively working on those kind of capabilities. But just because AI is available doesn't mean that we will go and pick any open technology out in the market and be able to integrate it. So we are working with our sister organization, TRC and TII, to see how homegrown, similar to our national crypto, homegrown artificial intelligence technologies can be brought to the table so that we can add capabilities that you just talked about. The ability to invite people automatically, the ability to dial them in, the ability to transcribe meetings, the ability to take notes and summaries, create action items and assign people, recognizing participants and automatically tagging them in terms of who said what. All those are innovations that we are looking at, and hopefully in a near future we'll be able to bring those capabilities to the platform. The second question is regarding the performance-related question, where, as I said, we have built the platform in such a manner that it is dynamically scalable up and down and east and west. Because of this capability, we don't have a major concern about number of users. And also because the solution is a closed circuit solution, we don't anticipate the same kind of user pressure as an open-ended end user or consumer-related application experience. But we do have data that is indicating that it is pretty highly scalable without impacting users' performance expectations.
Thank you. I think there was a question. I saw a hand before.
Yeah. From my side, I had a question, actually two questions. One is related for the future as well. While we are talking about the secure communications and the encryption of the information that is like even if it's chatting or video calls, what about when the files are transferred and files that are stored, for example, on the end devices? Is it encrypted as well? The other question is related to this one is for future, you plan some additional module, for example, that can check the files that are transferred if they are secure, like some antivirus malware type of module, which can check the files that are transferred as well. Yeah.
Well, certainly. First question, is the content on the end user devices, is it secure? Absolutely. Our focus is to secure the information from an encryption point of view, both in transit as well as at rest. So while the data is being transited between end users and so on, we are using end-to-end encryption to accomplish that. And once the data is received by an end user device, we actually store it back into the on the phone or mobile device sandbox with the local database, totally encrypted data at rest encrypted. If the user happens to put the same file or same content into the cloud environment, which is again the hosted environment of the customer where the user has their own space, that is also data and at rest encrypted. So from content security point of view, we treat everything as top secret and treat it accordingly from encryption point of view. The second question, sorry, your second question was from the future capabilities point of view. So as I mentioned, this is a platform. It's not a single trick pony. We did not create one product. We created a platform that can enable multiple products. Without actually revealing all the future products that we have on the roadmap, you can be assured that we are actually working on multiple different ideas to bring additional capabilities, with the only idea in mind that we need to ensure that a sensitive or ultra-sensitive organization's end user can be productive, without having to worry security, without having to worry about vulnerabilities, without having to worry about who is hacking them. So from that perspective, any kind of solutions, any kind of usages that you can think of are going to be fair game for our platform. Emailing, calendaring, maps, all these are different use cases that this platform is capable of addressing with that end-to-end security in mind.
Thank you. I saw one more hand raising before you.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. My question related to KATIM Trust device. Would it be possible to see KATIM connecting and serving as a satellite device or no?
Yeah, I think this is for you. The question is, can KATIM device be connected to satellite communications at some point in the future?
Yes, I would say that our devices are pretty agnostic to any connectivity. So of course, we are going to launch, the next generation of smartphone, which can use both with terrestrial or satellite communication links, of course. Of course, this KATIM 2.0 will be embedded in our next generation of smartphones, which will improve, of course, security, because the smartphone is secure. It's by itself. And of course, we'll use the capabilities of the countries in terms of satellite communication to make sure that we can have hand-to-hand secure communication between a handset that could be here in the country and something else that could be outside the country. Yes, this is in the roadmap, and again, we are pretty agnostic to these means of communications.
But as Didier has mentioned, we're actually in the process of developing our new device, and we're very open to exploring the use cases that are in need and on the ground. So this might be a fantastic time actually for a side discussion of understanding how exactly can help you, and then work it into our development schedule.
And it's very important to say that all of the technology is being developed here in the UAE. So we have the ownership of the technology. So if there is something we can do, I would say, in addition to what is already in the roadmap, this is something we can do, of course, together.
Thank you so much.
I think we have time for one more question.
Kate, over here.
Yeah, I see that.
Good afternoon, Pasha. This is a question for you. This is George from Abu Dhabi. I have a few questions. One is the organization MDM. Can we push KATIM Connect through the MDM to mobile apps?
Answer is yes.
Okay, great. Two, does the KATIM Connect support MFA?
Multi-factor authentication, absolutely yes. We have built the Active Directory integration into our platform with the ability to support multi-factor authentication.
Excellent. And the last question I have regarding backup and archiving. How do you handle that?
So the cloud drive, that concept that we have introduced in this platform, initially was introduced only for file sharing and file storing capability. But we built it in such a manner that we can actually extend it to back up the device configurations, back up the device data as well. But device data, you really don't need to do a backup of. By nature, the platform offers that because we have multi-point of presence. That means you have 4 devices on the platform to your account. You want to introduce a new device, or you lost a device, you can remotely wipe that device through MDM, and you want to bring a new device, it will automatically sync all your data, so you don't have to explicitly back up and restore. Like third-party applications like WhatsApp, they have the ability to say, I want to back up incrementally or one time, then when a new device is brought in, you will transfer the data to that. In our solution, you don't have to worry about it because it is multi-point of presence capable, so the data doesn't need backing up. However, configurations, like what are your settings, how did you select the localization of your application and so on and so forth, you don't want to go through that experience every time, so you can back that up and into the same drive environment, and you'll be able to restore a new device from there. Depending on how much data you have in your solution, it will take that long in order to bring it. But we have built the application in such a manner that it is not going to be intrusive on user experience. It is incremental. That means as you are using, it is going to be bringing the data from the other environments into your device. Hope that addresses your question. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for this fantastic discussion. Thank you, Pasha, for taking majority of the questions. With that, we're coming to a closure of our formal part of the program, and I would like to invite our CEO, Didier, back to stage to give you closing remarks.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, EDGE and KATIM fellow leaders, thank you very much for your attendance. It is a very big honor for me and the team to have such an audience today. The objective of this event was to set up a community interested in secure communication. I can say that based on your questions and based on the discussions we had already together, we have achieved this goal. Thank you very much for this. To keep this community alive, this event will become an annual event that will gather, I hope, more and more people in this community. And we have launched this Trust initiative, and we will be very, very happy to have you around this table and to discuss on a longer perspective about secure communication. The objective for us is to increase the level of security of this nation. This is a digital nation, one of the leading digital nations in the world, and this digital nation must be 100% secure. And it will arrive, it will become because you are part of this community, and I thank you, all of you, for that. This is the end of this event. For those who are interested in experimenting KATIM 2.0 application, and I think there are many in the audience, you have 2 different locations in the back of the room. And for those who want to continue discussion, we are happy to invite you in a late lunch or early dinner, I don't know how to call this, close to the room, and we will be able to follow up the discussion. Thank you very much, and see you next year.